Right now we have a powerhouse sister that's on the line that's waiting to come through. Her name is Dr. Khadijah
Hey,
X Chapman. X Chapman. She's the radical person. She's the radical coach. And
I'm
she's going to
going
be coming
live.
on in a few minutes. So just give us
Guys,
a few
trying to.
seconds while we put her on the session. I know Dr. Khadijah, you are here.
Yes, I am. I'm speaking, guys. Hi.
Coming
Okay.
on to you. Just bear with me.
All right.
Dr. Khadijah, we're going to bring you on.
All right, I'm
And
here.
I'm going to tell you something. You have never heard this powerhouse sister talk. You are in for a treat. She is coming on with you about the money bloom.
Yes, yes.
Okay, is what we need here in the physical third dimensional plane for you to manifest what you want in life. Like we're spiritual, it's powerful to be spiritual, but we are in the third dimensional plane and it takes an exchange of money. And it's not just about physical paper, y'all, which Dr. Khadijah is going to go into. I'm so excited to bring her on. She was a mother, a single mother on welfare, living in poverty, who shifted her mindset
I wasn't living
to
in
become
poverty.
a millionaire, multi-millionaire. And she's called Coach Millionista. She also has created something called the Millionaire's Matrix. As you know, living in third dimension, it is the matrix, and she teaches people how to create money that's in here. I'm going to bring her on, Dr. Khadijah. Let's see if we have you here. I'm going to make you the host now. So you can come on, you can unmute yourself and put on your video.
All right. Can you hear me? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Hey. Hey guys, how are you?
Unmute yourself, Dr. Khadijah.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. I got it. It wasn't letting me, but I'm ready now. How you doing? No, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I can't hear you, but that's okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay. Hey, welcome. Thank you for inviting me here, Avery. I know you is Avery. I know you have another name. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Is it? Well, I can't hear you. Anyway, I just want to say I'm excited to be here. But first of all, I got to correct you a little bit about my intro. I did grow up in poverty. My family would be real upset if they heard that. So I just want to be real clear. I had an amazing upbringing. I lived with my dad and my grandmother, yada yada. Did very well. When I was in college and I got pregnant, I got on welfare at that time. And a little later in life, I'm gonna tell my story. I got on welfare again at that, at another time in life. But I just want to be real clear. I did have a middle class growing up, but I'm gonna tell you something. When I got on welfare, both times it was extremely humbling, and I had a whole different level of respect for women who have literally lived that life trying to raise kids. I had no understanding. So I'll talk a little bit about that, but I just wanted to be real clear. But I wanted to talk today about, I have a challenge. But let me say this. I have a challenge. It's called Millionaire in a Year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I am Coach Millionista, your radical wealth building strategist. And I'm here to talk about the money because at the end of the day, money is energetic. And for me, the word radical stands for results achieved daily, intentionally creates amazing living. So I want to say that again, but I want to add something to it. Results achieved daily, intentionally with integrity creates amazing living. That integrity piece is so crucial. It is so crucial. And I want to start off by sharing what someone said to me. One of my mentors did a business makeover for me some years ago, a couple years ago back, what have you. And, it was a 20 plus, $1,000 business makeover. And we were having a conversation about people who spend that type of money and have success and people who, don't have success or don't have the level of success that they're, attempting to have, right? And one of the things that he pointed out to me was that when you look at all things being pretty much the same, what separates people from going to the next level, with everything in life, not just money, but I am here to talk about the money. So I'm gonna keep my focus there for the most part, even though we're gonna get into some other modalities here. Um, People who tend to shake things up a little bit, be more controversial, in my case, radical. You want to set people on fire, like shake them up and be, and make them think about what it is that they're doing and how they're doing it and how they're coming to play in the world. Because we are energetic beings. We all have a divine assignment. We all have a divine purpose. And the challenge is a lot of us, we stay stuck in our stuff and we don't really graduate and go to the next level. So part of my divine assignment is to shake things up and to help you understand your radical factor and to help you understand how to unleash the radical factor. What's your radical factor? Your radical factor is when you show up being yourself. When you show up in your true self and you put on you illuminate your gifts. And one of the sayings I like to say is it's your talents, your abilities, and it's your gifts. So it's like tag. Those are your tags. So it's like tag, you're it. You should have next. I created this challenge because I did a lot of things in my life. I went to school to get the education and all that good stuff to get a good job. And then I got real confused about the good job because I had this good job, but I was always struggling and I was always, broke, just over broke, right? Journey on the way to brokenness. I was constantly leveling up on my job, getting promotions, yada yada. But I was, I wasn't manifesting the life that I wanted. I was struggling and trying to pay bills. My life was about paying bills. So check the story. I go to work every day, all day, at a place I didn't really like. I got paid an amount of money that didn't support the lifestyle that I wanted to live. And, I found some issues with that. So one day someone introduced me to a book, called Think and Grow Rich. That book changed my life. It changed my world. And it gave me a different set of possibilities. And a lot of it was grounded in spiritual a spiritual truth. And it's such a dynamic book because it doesn't say work and grow rich. It doesn't say take action and grow rich. It says think and grow rich. So, okay, long story made short, at some point in my corporate career, that was kind of short lived. I ended up leaving my good job. And I started my own business, and I made more money than I'd ever made ever. And that's a whole nother story within itself. But during that time, I was introduced to one of my first mentors, if you will. The man was brilliant, had a phenomenal mindset, had a phenomenal game plan. And I will show you how things come full circle. He and I and a couple other men had got together and we put together $1 billion business plan. Real talk, $1 billion business plan. Some things happened and I only have 40 minutes, so I can't get into the whole story. But the short of it is, one of the persons who was literally financing our venture, he died. He just up and died. Young man had a heart attack. I mean, boom, he's gone. So we were stuck with trying to build a business without the capital. Had the business plan. We went to the banks, the credit unions, probably went to some churches, went to some family and friends. We tried to leverage credit, yada, yada. Couldn't make it happen. My business partner was the man who was from the streets, and he was from the streets and he understood how to get money in the streets. So I'll make a long story short. I know I keep saying that. He went to the streets and he started doing what he knew to get money for our business. Now, I knew he was, of that mindset, and he kind of joked with me a little bit about it, but I didn't really take him really serious that he was really gonna hit the streets and do do some things that he knew how to do from his past. So what ended up happening was I became complicit in a conspiracy to defraud the government out of millions of dollars. So I landed up inside of a federal camp for 11 months because of who I was associated with. And, when I tell that story, like when that first happened to me, I thought my life was over. I thought, oh my God, how could this happen to me? Because I really didn't have anything to do with this criminal enterprise. I was part of a $1 billion business plan that we had put together. And I'm saying billionaire, but real talk, it was multi millions and definitely could have gone to that degree. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about that here in a little bit. So that started a spiritual journey for me. So I come to learn that nothing happens to you, it happens for you. Okay. And I heard you ladies speak before me, and you all have said some powerful stuff. And what I realize is that people who are out here doing this work, we all pretty much say the same thing. There's emotional pain and baggage, there's trauma, there's abandonment issues. My mother, she had me when she was young, and she wasn't there to nurture me as a young girl growing up. I had my grandmother, thank God, who was an amazing woman, and my dad and his sister. That was my supporting cast. So, it is what it is. My mother later in life, she kind of got it together and became one of my best friends. So we're good now. That's life. But moving through this journey, to tell you a little bit about my story, I connected with the guy at the time when I was dealing with my mentor and the whole, criminal enterprise thing that I became a part of. He was my partner. He was my partner, my, I guess, fiance, whatever. We had a relationship, and we went on to have a relationship for a long time. And at some point, I had to cut that relationship because at some point it fell out of integrity. So not to be that personal up or anything, because he's a really good guy, in God's eyes. No, I'm just being silly. But we all have our ups and downs and shortcomings or whatever. But during this time of being with him, I went through a lot of, there was all types of abuse. There was, mentally, emotionally, some physical. We were young. We beat each other. And I don't mean necessarily like, black eyes and broken teeth or anything like that. But I realized that we were both broken, and we were attempting to be whole together. So just through life, we did develop into a much better place as it related to a relationship, quote unquote. But during the time, I had a lot of challenges. We had challenges. He was taken out of my life twice, unjustly, in prison, and we had to fight to get him out and all of that stuff. And that one of those times, I actually ended up in a welfare line. And it was interesting because, well, let me go back a little bit. I'm going to go back and tell you a little bit of my journey so I can validate some things I'm about to say. When I left corporate America, started my own business, ended up with a felony, ended up, now I'm out in the world trying to live and trying to, piece her life back together. But I have this felony, right? But I'm real smart. I'm real creative, etc. So I start other businesses, and I ended up in the network marketing arena. Okay, if anybody knows about network marketing, right? So I end up in this network marketing arena. I end up building. We ended up building a pretty big team, and we were making some really, really good money. But we were making good money because we were able to recruit. Okay, we didn't know the game, but this is the thing. When I first entered that arena, and the man in front of the room was a man who looked like me and was making some really nice money, or so I thought. I didn't really know what he was making, but because of his title, I assumed he was probably making a little more than what he was. But the point is, that was my first introduction to someone talking about generational wealth, not general, generational wealth, and leaving legacies of wealth. And I was like, whoa, and residual income. I had never heard those words. Here I am, advanced placement, upper bound student, been to college, and yada, yada, yada. Never, I heard them, but if I heard any of those words, it was always, is it related to the people who were on Forbes or the people who were over there, like people who probably didn't look like me. So, okay, I jumped all into the networking thing. Then kind of figured out at some point, this is a play, because 3% of the people in network marketing really go on to make the big money that is really available. But there's an opportunity for everybody to make their own income. So I like that. but I got out of it. And then I jumped into something called gifting. I don't know if you guys are familiar with gifting, but I got into the gifting arena, and that's where you give money with no, um, you just give money freely with no, you're not worrying if you get anything back. However, when gifting is done in excellence, it's a phenomenal way to create wealth for you, your family, your friends, people, and usually communities of people who look the same. They do what's called gifting circles, and you have different names for them in Jamaica and Africa, and the the Arabs do it, and the Chinese, they have a name, and a lot of communities do it more so, probably I don't want to say more excellent, but they have a different dynamic than typically the type of gifting circles we end up in the States, right? So there's a huge gifting board going on right now, and I'm curious to see how it's going to turn out, because they have a huge, they have a huge following, and they're doing, like, I think it's like $1,400 to start, and you have to bring two people and yada yada yada. But anyway, what I found out, I was so excited when I got involved. And what I found out was those gifting typically dissipates at some point. It doesn't complete the circle. Someone's not going to be gifted at some point. They all, because the way it's set up, it's like it keeps, you keep the circles keep breaking off, and you got a new circle, and you got another circle, and it is what it is. So okay, but when I did gifting, I literally made a couple $100,000 in like record time. I don't even remember. It was like 2 or 3 months, something crazy. I was making between $3,000 and $6,000 a day receiving gifts. So I love that part of it. I was like, whoa, this is great. But then, different challenges started coming up around that. So it was like, okay, we backed off of the gifting thing. Next, I was introduced to the stock market. Let me tell you something. I knew my partner at the time, we had a portfolio. He was investing stocks. He's a very smart man, very intelligent with numbers and money and stuff like that. So we had a portfolio. We were doing like 30% on our money a year, which is freaking amazing, especially for people who we were just kind of buying blue chip stocks, I guess, or whatever. But he was handling most of that. For Christmas, that's what I would get. I would get stocks. I would get money in stocks. So that was cool, right? But anyway, at my birthday, I get stocks and money and all that other stuff. But anyway, so we doing that. Then I meet this country black man who looked like a black Paul Bunyan, and he introduces us to options in the stock market. And options is where you take you buy a stock, but you don't buy the stock. You take the option on the stock, and then you make money if you make money if the stock goes up or down, or even if it stays the same. You just have to know certain modalities to strike prices and things like that or whatever, right? So he showed me how he took $250 and turned it into like $250,000. And I don't remember the time frame. It's been too many years, but he showed me a different possibility. Again, I built a huge team in that company. And then, unfortunately, the brother, he didn't do some things. It's a power play, because a lot of times when black people end up in situations, the white man is trying to shut us down. And sometimes that's true. Other times, there's certain things we have to do to stay legal in their game so that they can't come for us. And even if they do come, you just protect yourself, right? So I had to leave that company because I became like one of his officers, I can't think of the title right now, but I got a chance to sit in the boardroom, and I got a chance to see, as amazing as his brother was, he didn't have the business side of his business together. And that's the reason the white man was able to come in and infiltrate. And they took him down at some point. That's a whole nother dynamic whatsoever. But he's a phenomenal man. He's in jail now, but guess what? I said, hey, he's got a captive audience, because a lot of men are coming out of jail now learning how to trade because of him. So that's neither here nor there. But anyway, after the whole stock market thing, my partner at the time, he was unjustly snatched out of our life, didn't see it coming. And he went to jail for he was supposed to have a year. We ended up getting him out in 9 months. We fought, and, got the court like, yo, y'all tripping. This is not that. And So, we were able to work it out, but the wheels of justice, they turn slowly, okay? So 9 months later, we get him home. But by the time he came home, oh, wait, let me back up and say this. When he was arrested or put in or sentenced or whatever, we were living together, beautiful home in suburbia. I didn't work. I didn't, a lot of things happened before he was actually sent off or imprisoned, and a lot of money was held up. The feds that came in and took like over $350,000 of ours, and I mean, literally by the time he went away, I had given him my little cushion because he was trying to save a deal, and we just never saw him ever being taken and out of our lives based on what he was going to court about. So that was a real like, oh my God, that really just happened. So anyway, that's when I got on welfare because when he went away, none of the bills were paid, very little money in the refrigerator. Like it was like, Khadijah, what are you going to do? And I had a store at the time that I was opening that we had just put all this inventory in that I had to liquidate. That's a whole nother story. So I had money over here, but I couldn't get to it. So yes, I went and stood in that food stamp line. And I never will forget how I felt. It was like, well, I'm doing what I gotta do. But just that energy, the energy of the whole welfare thing is like it's heavy. So, you do what you gotta do, right? In that time of space of him being gone, I actually put together the Millionaire's Matrix. But I put it together, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But what ended up happening was I came up with this concept, this brilliant concept. And it's totally different than what it is today. Okay. It's definitely totally different. But I got into real estate around the same time because I had been dipping and dabbing in real estate. So I was making a little money in real estate. I was just, kind of was like a more of a hobby kind of a thing, I don't know. But I knew ultimately I always wanted to do real estate because all the millionaires and billionaires have real estate in their portfolio. So I get into real estate, he's gone, and now I'm out here with my children trying to figure life out, and I'm playing with the real estate game, and I was putting the concept of the Millionaire's Matrix together. Again, long story made short, and within 9 months, I generated $1.3 million, right? And had a multi-million-dollar portfolio. So I went from welfare to, and I never even thought about it like this, honestly, until like recently. Because sometimes when you're in life and you're doing things, you just doing things, right? So I make this money, but the money came as fast as it came in love. Okay, and he gets home, and we're just doing the daggone thing, but it was still a lot of we were doing it was on and popping, and oh my God, then the market crashed, right? We had all of this real estate that now these houses that were worth millions of dollars, now they're worth less than $500,000. So now we're losing. It's like everything's upside down. So now the thing about being radical is in understanding you just have to pivot. You just have to pivot as things are happening. So when that happened, I started thinking. I said, listen to this, guys. When I was, reading Think and Grow Rich. And then later on, I started reading some other powerful books like Rich Dad Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrant. And if you say I got a bookshelf behind me, I'm an avid reader, and I learned a lot of things about owning everything. No, owning nothing and controlling everything, right? So when I was doing my real estate, mind you, I didn't tell you this part. I had very little money, and my credit was not good enough to facilitate those types of housing, right? So think about it. How did I do it? I partner with other people. I've never had a piece of property in my name ever. I've always had it in my business names. So, or somebody else's name or somebody else's business name that I was, attached to. Never had anything in my name. So when the market crashed, and I'm thinking, and I'm, because you start trying to readjust and put things together. What am I going to do now? And, you're kind of trying to figure it out. So I realized, I said, we use other people's credit and other people's money to do everything that we did. I mean, it was like, I didn't stop to think about it because I was in the moment doing it with my team, right? We figuring it out. So The young lady that I made the $1.3 million with, she was a mentor. And the reason I bring it up is because she and I said, and we were talking, and we both had pieces of a dynamic, and together we were able to create magic. Nobody, there was no man around to tell us we couldn't do it. There was nobody around to tell us we couldn't do it. And we literally just did it. And after the fact, it was like whoosh, a year later, we're like, it was probably a year and a half, but the whole time of everything, we were like, did we really just do all of that in that short amount of time? Like with very little money and very little credit, like seriously. And I say that to say that I've learned the money game. Like it's what I call the money game. And it's the knowledge that I have to share because a lot of us, we're dependent on trying to make it by other resources instead of understanding that we have everything that we need to get to the next level when it comes to money based on a lot of things that are set up right here in America. Now, I have the spiritual side of money, then I have the physical side of money. And in my world, when you merge those two together, it makes a huge difference. One of the things that changed the game for me was when I understood the power of a mentor. And at some point, a little later in my life, I actually hired my first business coach. Total game changer. Mentor is different than a coach, okay? And sometimes your coach can become a mentor, right? When I first hired this young lady, I remember thinking, oh my God, like how am I? Because back then I was known as the queen of the double digit comedy club because everything I did had to, at least $20,000, which is everything was double digits. From the money I was making in the stock market and the returns to it back then, I had to make at least 20K, whatever I was doing. So double digits, or whatever. So how am I, queen of the double digit comedy club? How am I going to hire somebody? Because to me, it meant I wasn't doing well. But this is the part I'm leaving out of the story. As I was moving and doing, my life was doing this. My money was doing this. It was up and down. It was a struggle. It was a continuum. It was a struggle. It was okay, I'm doing great. But then whoosh, you look up and you're like, okay, I'm starting over again. So that was, and for a lot of us, that becomes like the landscape. How do you stop the landscape? So I hired the coach. And even though my mentor that I made the first 1.3 million with, she was really powerful with spiritual energy. I could tell you some stories that would just make you go, really? Did that really happen? Or did you make that up? But she was real deep into, meditation and all of that type of stuff, right? All the energy work. So when I got with this coach, the first thing that she started teaching me, the first thing I'm here to talk about money with her, right? And I'm gonna tell you the quick story of how I came to hire her. One of my business partners had, and I know I got about 9 minutes, so I'm gonna wrap this up. One of my business partners had literally stolen money from out of one of our accounts. I mean, whoosh, $122,000 gone. It was like, whoa. So it was like, so whatever was happening, I'm in my mind and in my head, and I'm over here like, you know what, I got to do something different because I keep having all of these challenges and money, and then there's no money, and I'm starting over now, so it was like I had to do something different. And that's when I went to hire this young lady. And this is the thing. I'm leaving out some pieces of the puzzle because I made money online marketing, 65 grew to $65,000 a month. And, I had some other successes, and then Google slapped. It was a Google slap or a punch or a bear. I don't know. It was something. But then now the money, it was just stuff, right? It was just whatever. I don't know if you guys know any of them stories about Google changing the algorithms and people were making money. All of a sudden, you can't make it that way and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so I had a lot of this stuff going on. So I'm over here like, I got to do something different. And this is when I hired this young lady. One of the first things she started teaching me was about mindset. She was like, I can give you all the action steps to get to everything you want to do. She says, but if you get the mindset part right, and Avery, I heard you speak about, how we can write things into being, how we can forward forecast by the way we're scripting, and I got a chance to be a part while a little bit after I met her, my coach. I ended up in another dynamic with these billionaires, a circle of billionaires. I put together a program. I ended up on a yacht. I mean, a boat. They paid for a cruise twice. Paid full. We didn't have to. Anybody who went, we didn't have to pay a penny, not a cent. We didn't have to pay taxes, gratuity, port, nothing. They paid for everything. So we're on it. So I got a different level of understanding energy through that equation. So, and I'm saying all of that to say that most of us in America, especially those of us who look like me, highly melanated people, I call ourselves hemiphiles. I hate the word black, and Avery, that was her thing. I don't like the word black. It stands for be like, and we had a conversation about that a couple of years back, and I felt her when she said that. And African American, well, what really is that? And if an African comes over here and takes citizenship, well, he's really an African American. So where does that leave us? I mean, we can go on and on with that. But then there's the conversation about us being indigenous to this land. And the moment we say we're of African descent, then that we cut all rights to the land. So I don't want to get that deep. But I want to stay on the mindset for a minute, and then I want to talk a little bit about social injustices, and then I'm gonna pretty much kind of close it, here in a few. So as far as as far as the power of the game of money in America, most of us are taught to go to school and look for a job, but there's another play. It's called businesses. It's called trust. It's called setting up yourself to be in a position to leverage what I would consider your intellectual property through credit. And then there's another side of business that when it's correct, when you do it correctly, you don't even ever need a social security number. So nothing is attached to you personally. So I help people understand how to get an influx of cash using other people's money, be in a position where they don't even have to pay the money back for at least a year. Anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000 to 150,000. And I just want you to think about this. If we have a strategy session, because I'm going to offer you an opportunity to work with me, talk with me, etc. If we have a strategy session and I show you how you can literally within anywhere from 30 days to 6 months create $100,000 or $250,000, and you did that with 5 of your friends or 10 of your friends, there's an opportunity right there for $1 million for you to go and do some other things, whether it's real estate, the stock market, because at some point I got introduced to the foreign exchange market, which is a whole nother beast. It's like the stock market literally on steroids, seriously. And then I'm also in some other dynamics where right now my money makes money for me. My money works for me. I don't work for my money. My money works for me. And that's so important, because I'm gonna tell you, money is an equalizer. The internet is an equalizer. Those things are extremely important dynamics of, you gotta have that energetic piece, because you got the energy side, but then you have the physical side. So they go together. One is male, one is female, and they go together. And when you put them together, you create the magic. Seriously, you create like the one young lady was saying, how God was just speaking to her clearly. It's like when you get that inner, I call it, we have a dynamic called the energetic equation. When you have access to understand it in a platform where you literally create the life that you want. The things and the people that you want, they show up. And for me, I feel like you got to get radical. I created the Millionaire's Matrix. I told you I set it on the shelf, and I kept bringing it out and playing with it and piecing it together, yada, yada. If I didn't say it earlier, the Millionaire's Matrix, it's a wealth building platform designed to engineer more Black millionaires. The reason, though, our why is because the social injustices in the world that are happening today. Kanye West said something that was very controversial. He said slavery was a choice because it happened for so many years and yada yada. And people got so in the uproar, they got so upset at him, and da 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 da. And then he came back out and said, "Oh, I was on drugs and I was, taking the medication and I didn't mean to say that and blah, blah, blah. That was a PR stunt. He meant everything he said. He really did. I never saw the video. I want to go look at it one day. But on the surface, we get to make choices. As a people, we get to make choices. And today, so many of us, we give our power to other people. And we got people running around talking about reparations. And I'm like, yo, I feel you on that. But let me give you another dynamic, right? The government is a customer. And the government has set aside billions of dollars for minorities. And I don't like that word, but I'll be a minority all day long when I can grab $1 million, multi-million-dollar contracts. Instead of us saying to each other, not necessarily us on this type of platform, a lot of us are entrepreneurs, but there's some of us still have jobs while we're, doing entrepreneur thing, and that's totally okay. You do what you gotta do, right? But we should be talking to each other about which contract did you get. I mean, we have all of these leaders, supposedly Black leaders, and you trying to tell me none of them know that there's billions of dollars set aside for people who look like us, and we running around talking about a job. But then I got to digress for a second because I see my time is extremely short. We have to, the Millionaires Matrix was put together so that we could, number one, I help other people. I give them the information I have. I show them what I know. They become millionaires. Guess what? We created enough of them. We can fund our own school system. We can fund our own banking system. Right now, a lot of our money goes into other people's banks. Those people don't care nothing about us. It's sacrilegious. It's so disrespectful. I don't understand. We got about 4 or 5 Black banks in America, and all of our money should be in those banks. Every single one of them. But it's not. The health. The highly melanated person does not need to be in anybody of Western medicine. We don't need to be letting them check us for nothing. If we break our arm or a motorcycle accident or something, we need to be stitched up. That's just my opinion. It's my opinion. That's what you need to use them for. I used to say, well, go and let them diagnose you. But then I was taught, no, well, their diagnosis really aren't for us. It's for a white, a 30-year-old man or something, 25-year-old man or something, whatever. And that's for even women too, white women, black women, whatever. We need to fund our own health system. And here's the biggest one. We need to fund our own legal system. Those are the 4 pillars that we teach inside of the Millionaires Matrix, which is a wealth building platform designed to engineer more Black millionaires. So when you come in the Millionaire Matrix, there's a modality that happens where it's about you, because guess what? You are the money. You're the money on a lot of different layers. Your gifts, your talents, your intellectual property, your signature. Your signature creates money. So when you understand how to use that dynamic, that's a whole nother conversation. The Millionaires Matrix is a private entity for a reason. And we're launching next Friday, Juneteeth. We're launching. And today you can join us at 7-Day Money Bloom. We have a $27. It's a challenge. It's a peek into the Millionaires in a Year challenge. It's powerful. It's profound. If you don't take the full challenge, you will have had a lot of information to go on and do some big things. Someone asked the question. There's an African proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child. And then the question is, but what do you do if the village is asleep? What do you do? It's too many of us, we're asleep out here. We have to come together collectively and network and connect the dots in a space that is helping us to get to the MONEY. Because all this other stuff, money is power. And in America, it ain't about Black. It ain't about white. It's about green. Green is the power that the supreme, well, I don't want to call them supreme, but that the upper echelon, that's what they it's such a I can't even get into that, especially right now because I'm out of time. I apologize because I literally did for the 40 minutes and I wanted it. I don't know if I got a few seconds to take a question or two. But if you go to 7daymoneybloom.com, you can register for the information that we will email you, and you'll get access to the challenge in a year, because which is starting Juneteenth, but you'll get a like a PDF. It's like a 7-figure cheat sheet kind of thing. It's some cool stuff on it. So, talking about universal laws and principles and what you need to do to energetically put yourself in a position so that you can unleash your radical factor so that you can have your radical rise. So, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I pray that something I said resonated with your spirit, with your soul, that you will want to connect with us on some level, and even if it's just through prayer, so that we can start to create. We can take our babies and our men and keep them safe, because we have if you think about it, I got to close on this. I got to close on this. There's only 14 million Jews in the world. Come on. It's 44 million African Americans just here in America alone. So just think about it. We started really good. It's 14 of them. 14 million. We beat them up by times 3, right? So, or 2.5, a little bit, 2.5. But it's like they got together privately and set up systems so that they could win. And they're winning. They y'all know that they own everything. Y'all know they own everything. We give our money to them. We go shopping. The minute we get a check, it's gone. So all right, guys, I'm a leave it there. Thank you again, Avery, for allowing me to share my story. Unfortunately, my PowerPoint wouldn't work. I don't know what's going on with my internet over here, but gratefully we were able to stay connected to Zoom. So when it is up and I've recorded, I'll send it to you so I can actually send it out. So if there's anybody who wants to see it and just really see the whole presentation, but that's the gist of it. The gist of it is we got to do some things. We got to get radical in a good way.
Dr. Khadija X, I thank you for coming on this panel. You know what I mean? Because if we could just wrap our heads around that money is a form of energy that will bring us together collectively to shift our own paradigm as people, melanated people of color, it's going to change the whole game.
Yeah, and it's time for it. It's just time. It's time, Avery. It's beyond time. But it's gonna take people like us to stand up and wave our flags and say, you know what, enough is enough. We got this.
We got this. Enough is enough. Yeah. And so any of you who are interested in getting in touch with you, please go to, I've typed it in the chat, 7daymoneybloom.com to get her for this amazing price. And I'm so grateful that you allowed people who are participating on this panel to get it at that perfect price point. Mm-hmm. Maybe they wouldn't have been interested otherwise, but thank you for, Lord, we know how much you charge and it's worth it for your services. Yeah. Okay?
Absolutely. So, well, thank you.
I just want to say again that, money energetically for me stands for my own natural energy yield.
I love it. I love it. And that's true.
I love what you're saying. And your principle, what you said about you can create money through integrity. It's important to have integrity.
It's super. It's super. Yeah.
Listen, I'm loving it. And I'm asking that you come back on for our next one on July the 19th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'd love to have you back again as another panelist.
All right,
man. Getting this thing rolling. It's our time now. 2020 is our year.
Yes. Okay. It is. All right.
Thank you, sister.
Thank you. And thank you to all the other panels. They were awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
One love. Bye-bye. There you go, guys. We just heard from Dr. Khadija X. Chapman. She's a radical money therapist. Money person, a good friend of mine, an excellent source of information on how we can get that money. To you. And I just want to apologize. It seems like right now we may be about a couple of minutes behind. I have my beautiful sister who's waiting in the wings to share with you. Dr. Pamela Love Manning, another beautiful soul sister. who's going to be talking about pleasure bloom. Because after you worked, you made all your millions, you have your mind and your body together. Now you want to enjoy. You want to enjoy life. You want to have pleasure in your life. And I definitely want to bring her on. I know normally we would have a few minutes in between for you to stretch, get your water, but this information is so important, and we're wrapping it up. So listen, I'll allow you to stand up, stand up, get a little stretch. We're going to bring her on, talk about pleasure. Her story is very dynamic too, where she was molested as well, and she's had some challenges in her life. And she was able to become this person who was an author. She wrote a play about Take My Vagina Back. A lot of things we were taught as children that, vagina's dirty, sex is dirty, pleasure is dirty. But how do you go from pain and trauma to claim this beautiful gift that God has given us as women called the vagina? I'll be bringing her on. Pam, I know you're waiting in the wings, and I'm bringing you on just now. Getting ready to bring you on, Pam. So don't go nowhere, y'all. She is coming on. Pam, are you there?
Yes. It says,
I'm bringing you on now. You're going to be the host, and you can put the video on when you're ready. Take it away, sister. Somehow I can't hear you though.
okay, can you hear me? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Let me just share my screen. I'm going to put up a video or a PowerPoint. Let's see, and share. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So hello to everyone. I'm so excited because, I had another, coming from a service where we were celebrating some graduates.
Oh, I just forgot about you guys.
So I wasn't able
Didn't mean to.
But what I heard
Gotta
has
go.
been absolutely phenomenal. Really excited. So I want to applaud the previous presenters. Just absolutely powerful.